It's Pretzelman945 here. Welcome back to another video. Today I have another top 10 list. This is an update to a list that I made almost 2 years ago to the day, which is my top 10 favorite female characters in fiction. Now, I feel the need to say is maybe kind of a disclaimer. The reason why, like, this is a separate list is because I swear I'm not a misogynist, but like most of my favorite characters in fiction either don't have a gender or they are male. Uh, yeah. Just being completely realistic. Um, so therefore, I have this as a separate list. Um, to kind of I guess I don't know. I I guess I'm just trying not to sound like a misogynist by having this as a separate list. But I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't even know what I was trying to say. Let's begin the list. The number 10 is Otsu from Vagabond. What I love about Otsu is the way that he is able to, at all times, act like a um a sort of motivational force for Musashi even when he is going through extreme struggles, and that's like just the presence that her as a character, like her effect has on Musashi, just her presence, not even her being there. um but like on top of that, they have a very wholesome and beautiful romance story, I think. And also I think that her as a character, she gets like this really great development because um uh I mean, at first she's sort of tagging along with Takuwan, and during that we get to see a really interesting perspective because we kind of get her view of like how she is striving to become a more independent woman after uh oh my gosh, after Matahachi, the absolute bum, uh hits on her and ends up regretting it after that absolute bum dumps her. um then, like, she goes on this journey, and of course, because Takuwan is so goaded, he's able to exert his mentor influence on not just Musashi but also her in a very different and way that is very unique to her as a character. um uh and then, like, he gets more development where later on, um yes, Jotaro, that's his name. That's his name. Uh, so the other way that she really, I think, changes a lot is via her becoming a mother slash older sister figure for Jotaro when, Musashi doesn't feel like it's like worth bringing him along or safe necessarily. Um, then he starts journeying with Otsu, and the two of them just have a very wholesome dynamic together. Um, And I just really like the way that um he remains consistent in the way that he helps Musashi, but at the same time also changes a lot in a lot of great ways throughout the course of the story. And number nine is Shiba from Magi. And what I love about Shiba is, um, in a similar way, the way that he is this, even before they like fall in love, get married, and she becomes pregnant with Aladdin. Like even when they're still friends and whatnot, like she has a profound impact on Solomon and like is absolutely instrumental to um determining like his ultimate decisions and helping him and giving him counsel, and at the same time she is also a character that changes for the better, I would say, because like he is also impacted by Solomon. Um and um and I think that like the way that he is both impacted by Solomon and is able to impact Solomon is what makes her a fantastic character. Um Number 8 is Tori. Tori moved down a few spots on this list, but that's merely because we are dealing with a much I guess higher level caliber this time around. Like there are some new characters on this list that I've added from the list since the list 2 years ago, which make this quite different. Um, and but all that to say, Hori is still a fantastic character and one of my favorite characters in Cobra Kai because I think that she just has like the best journey of any character in that show. Like he goes through so much. It is honestly crazy just like how many ups and downs her life seems to constantly have, and like he starts out as how does she start out? Fuck, I'm like I'm it's been a hot minute since I watched Cobra Kai. Um, I'm trying to remember like how she even starts, but like she starts out at Cobra Kai. I remember that at a certain point. Um, and then like ends up seeing Kreese as like this mentor figure. Um, and she has some major family problems, but then like she sort of seems to sort them out. She seems like she's in a better place. And then and even to the point where like once she's past her antagonist part, like in season 4, she even starts becoming friends with Sam, and it's just like this incredible process. And then there is this just brilliant move that occurs in the first part of season 6 where like her mother dies, which is just like such a completely unexpected twist, and it causes her to like completely revert and go back to Cobra Kai, and like the way that she further emotionally recovers from that is just incredible. Like Tori as a character I love because she just has an amazing journey. Um and number 7 is Farnese from Berserk. Um Now I have been reading through the rest of Berserk because as you can tell by my bookshelf back there, I don't know how I'm trying to get. There we go. Okay. Now it's showing in frame. I have the entire, like every volume of Berserk is there on my bookshelf. And uh I don't um I don't remember when did I start rereading it? Let's see. Okay. So yeah, okay. So late June, specifically June 19th, because I recorded via Discord messages, the date which I started doing so. Um, uh, for over a month now, I have been reading a volume of Berserk a day. I am almost done. I just finished volume 35 this morning. And why I'm saying all this context is because before I'd only read like 19 volumes of Berserk. That was back in 2023, when Berserk was my very first manga. I'm finally finishing it, and I'm going to do an entire video when I'm fully done with it. Like it's gonna be a massive video, I think. But one of my favorite part of reading these new parts of Berserk has been Farnese as a character because um she has just like the more that I read, the more that I continue to like Farnese as a character more and more. Um and what I love about her is that like he starts out as this is another character with just an absolutely crazy journey to me. Uh Farnese like starts out as this leader of the Holy Iron Chain Knights, and she is like as devout of a devotee as you could get. That made no sense, but she's an extremely devout follower of God. Um, and her faith is tested in a lot of ways once she meets Guts for the first time, and their relationship is so interesting because Guts uh causes Farnese to basically question everything that she knew about her world, and it causes her like her sort of innate desires that she always had to sort of be realized, and it creates this incredible conflict within her of like he doesn't know whether to follow her right path or to follow what he desires. He doesn't really know which path that she wants to choose. Um, and in doing so, like, by ending up deciding to follow Guts and having him be her, like, sort of figure for salvation, but in a very different way than she thought of as a devout follower of God, then, like, she's able to learn so much more about the world um, and I think like my favorite part of her journey is the fact that she begins learning magic with Case help, who is another fantastic character that I that was almost put on this list, truth be told. Um because she's also just another fantastic character in Berserk. Um uh um And like when she starts learning magic, it is her taking a leap into a world that is completely unknown to her. And thusly, it becomes something that she is able to, how do I say, it becomes something new that she is able to put her faith in being able, but this time it's different because it is a power that you can wield and use. And the difference between the types of faith that she has are very powerful, and I think it makes for a fantastic, like, noticeable change in her character. Um, this is going to be a long video. We're already at 15 minutes, and I just finished talking about number 7. Buckle in. The last video was 40 minutes long. I think this one's going to be even longer. Um, at number 6 is Hana Endo from 20th Century Boys. Now, there are several fantastic characters that I could put from 20th Century Boys in this list, like oh my gosh, I don't I don't remember her name, but like there's the character that raises Kana straight up, um, like acts as her mother figure, and then there's her actual mom herself, who in herself is also a fantastic character. Um, and okay, had to go get some water. But ultimately, I decided to put Kana in this list, and unintentionally, her character, now that I think about it, actually matches a theme of their characters that I have seen to like a part of their characters I have seen to talk most positively about on this channel, which is the fact that Kana is also a character that goes on a very extreme journey. Because like what is so interesting about Kana is he is sort of like the audience POV character for the story of 20th Century Boys in a sense. Because, like, whenever there is a time jump in 20th Century Boys, not like the frequent ones that show in flashbacks from like the 70s to the 90s to the 2000s. It happens a lot, but like, um, her perspective goes from like when it goes from like the late 90s to 2001 to 2014 eventually, like what her character is so good for in the story is like sort of being a reflection and sounding board to show the audience how the story has changed. And I don't mean just in terms of like, oh my god, there was a time skip and oh shit, this crazy thing happened. I mean like in terms of how the world changed. And the story as a subsequent result of that. Like she is amazing for seeing the effect of the changes in the story on a deep and personal level. And the story of 20th Century Boys is so well constructed that it gives the adequate time to be able to like where you can really feel the changes in the story that have happened. And Kana's character is excellent because of the way that you can feel that because that is her role for much of the story is like a visual aid to see how the story and the world have changed on a much deeper level than you can see by just like reading the plot twists and stuff like that. And number 5 is Ahsoka. And what I love about Ahsoka and why she's one of my favorite Jedi, is because she has to undergo this very powerful arc of um she's essentially, think of the first one that really sees the problems of the Jedi for what they truly are, not from a flawed perspective like Anakin does, but she sees the problems with the dogmatisms of the Jedi because she experiences it firsthand due to he is banished from the order on a false accusation for a crime that she did not commit, and the entire trial is just one that's done out of aficionado type proceedings that is incredibly in line with the Republic, and it's the Jedi are under the control of the Republic, and similar to kind of um Ahsoka in this way is this excellent visual aid for the audience to see the ways in which the Clone Wars have physically changed the Jedi and the ideals that they stand for, despite the fact that they claim to stand for the same things. And in a lot of respects, they do. But their attitude towards it and the way that they go about it and their actions that represent all of that are very different. And Ahsoka is excellent at um understand and showing the audience how those changes have happened because she experiences it herself. Um, and then of course she gets fantastic development in Rebels as well because um he has to like you know over the course of Rebels what she learns to do is have faith in others again because that was kind of lost when what she thought was her home, the Jedi essentially betrayed her, leaving her feeling forced to leave the order. um and this is even further compounded with her having to um kill the clones that just a little bit ago in season 7 were her special group regiment that were especially loyal to her. Um and so what happens in Rebels is he goes on another fantastic character arc of learning to trust and have faith in another group again. Um and I love all of that about Ahsoka. Um and that's the reason why she's one of my favorite Jedi and also one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And number 4 is Frieren. Now, I have talked a lot in this video about how um about characters and their journeys on this list. Even though that was not my intention, that's just a theme that I have picked up on with all the characters I have been talking about. But with Frieren, that pretty much is my talking point because Frieren as a character is her entire character is the journey that she goes on, and that is why I love Frieren as a main character and also just the same name anime. That's why the anime also is so incredible, one of my favorite animes of all time because you are able to follow Frieren and her every emotion and see every lesson that she learned from Himmel. And granted, is it a formula? Yes, it is. A lot of Frieren episodes, um, at least in terms of standalone episodes that aren't part of a bigger arc, the Mage Exam or the Golden Land arc or something like that. Every everything that is an experience to her in an episode is based off a lesson that she learned from her travels with Himmel. But the thing is, that formula never gets tiring because, like, Frieren as a character is a character that is constantly learning at the same time as she is bestowing upon what she has learned. It's like she is learning new things while also attributing the experiences that she already had to a new situation. And it is this incredible mismatch, like incredible balance of the two elements, which normally in many other stories would conflict each other because of the fact that they are just like opposite attributes. Like, normally you would think you can't really learn an idea and also attribute a past experience to an idea because, like, old knowledge versus new knowledge would seem like it conflicts with each other, but this is not the case with Freeren's character, and that's what I love about her character. And number three is Mao Mao. And Mao Mao, uh, was a lot higher on my protagonist list as well that I did a few months ago. But she is this. I don't know. I honestly find hard to describe. I don't remember what I said about her in the protagonist video. Um, but like, what I love about Mao Mao is just the way that she acts. Everything about her, like her silly quirk, how much she loves medicine and how like geeky she gets about it. Um, all that is very lovable, of course. Um, and I do love those aspects of like her character, but what I love even more is the deeper level of that. Like the way that that causes her to build connections with other people. Um, like, in season two especially, which is what caused her to move higher up on this list, like he undergoes such incredible development by um making friends with I don't remember her name. Oh god. Uh Xiaolan? Was that her name? I need here it is. Am I thinking of no. I'm thinking of a different character. Not Xiaolan. Let's see. Is it Shisui? Yes, Shisui, Shisui. Yes, or Lolon. Yeah, that's her other name. So Lolon is um a character that like makes friends with Mao Mao through this guise of being Shisui and like the incredible development that Mao Mao goes through befriending Glowlon and like having to bear with her dying, but like the fact that Mao Mao as a character isn't like disheartened from that and never wants to befriend people again. Instead, he like fundamentally changes for the better, and I love that development from Mao Mao so much in season two. It's why one of many reasons why it was my anime of the year last year. Um, And I fucking love that along with every other element of Mao Mao. But I'm just talking about that because it's like the most recent in my memory. Number two, a character that is brand new on this list, but I have talked about a fair bit in previous videos. That is Giselle from the house in Fata Morgana. And Giselle is an extremely complicated character to talk about because, like, there is so much to her. Like, because you have to consider everything that she does as the maid. Um every one of her actions like seeming mysterious and like disappearing in and out of nowhere. It's just like it's brilliant because like her as the maid, it serves as this incredible like creepy presence um for the start of the game. And it really gives you like the creepy vibes. And it's just so interesting you see the way that he appears in every story and you don't know what the mystery is behind it. And then you find out that, like, he is actually Giselle. Um, and, like, just, oh, the reason why Door 6 is my favorite section of the entire visual novel is because just, I mean, like, there's also the Morgana stuff included within Door 6, which I also find key. And the combination of Morgana and Giselle's stories are what makes that key. But a big part of why I love that, like, is Giselle's entire story. Well, because number one, in door five, we see the absolutely just beautiful love story between her and Mikkel, and like the true version, which is much more like brutal. It is much darker. It is a whole lot not nicer than the sort of fairy tale version that Morgana shows to you in door four. And then like that has such an emotional end, and then it just continues the insanely heavy emotions by like just seeing Giselle's character slowly wake up. And then probably the only way that I can describe it because like character just breaks down over hundreds and hundreds of years of waiting for Mikkel, which he doesn't know when he's going to reappear, to the point where he becomes so deluded that, like, he begins thinking that like, he was in love with a girl the entire time because he forgets what Mikkel looked like, and she even convinces herself that he is actually Morgana herself. And oh, oh my gosh, like her entire story is just so tragic. And like to experience all of that playing as the main character of Mikkel is just it is truly unbelievable. Like her character is just goes through such an emotional roller coaster throughout the course of the entire damn visual novel, and it is just ah. It is one of many reasons why the house in Fata Morgana is peak fiction. And number one, though, and still unchanged from the last list, is Ciri from The Witcher. Um, Ciri is a character that I think I would have said has like the best journey in fiction, but now I have to say that second place because Foss exists and Foss's journey as a character is just better. Like I do think there's quite a bit of a gap between the two characters in terms of their journey, but Um, Siri is still in the number two spot, and that is easily my favorite aspect of her as a character overall. Um, uh, Siri as a character to me um is defined by this journey and by just how layered of a character she is. Like, you have this interesting part where she is a princess. That's like the first layer. And then there's this sort of second deeper layer where she realizes her destiny. Um, and her bloodline and all that. And that's actually kind of like one layer with which is like two different sub layers, if that makes any sense. And then there's a second layer of like her relationship with Geralt and wanting to be a Witcher. And then there's the third layer, which is like her mother-daughter relationship with Yennefer and like wanting to learn magic and become powerful maid. And then there's a fourth layer which is like her journeying with the rats and like becoming accustomed to an entire new world before all of those friends are slaughtered before her and she is put through brutal torture at the hands of Leo Bonhart. Um, and then and then somehow there is like a um a fifth layer to that, which is like series character over the course of The Witcher 3, um, where he is just on the run the entire time. And actually, the sections where you play as Ciri in The Witcher 3 are my favorite sections of in the whole game. Um, because like you not only as Geralt playing as Geralt, you don't not only like connect her story together by following her paper trail of people that knew her and interacted with her. You not only follow that paper trail, but also like you relive everything that she experienced and went through having to be alone again. And this constant tragic cycle of seeing her so lonely and yet somehow manage to gain something new throughout every aspect of her journey is why she's one of my favorite characters in all of fiction and my favorite female character in all of fiction easily. Um so yeah, that is going to do it for this video. It's actually barely shorter than my previous video at 38 minutes. Um, but yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this updated list. Let me know who your favorite female characters are, and I will see you later. Bye bye.